Okay. Um, Welcome. This is my tutorial update. This will be going over some of the things that I have done to improve my route as kind of a supplementary um, to my other video. This will be less in depth overall, mostly just covering changes. Um, and our first change will be coming soon. I figured I would have something moving on the screen while I was talking. But our first change is going to start with our first puppet. Um, and when we get a second, I will tell you why. Oh, sorry, we'll start with our second puppet. I've correcting myself. This is the same standard tank setup that we've been running previously. I believe this one will be a slight shift. Same name. However, we're going for appearance too. That doesn't matter as much. Sharp and moon. We are grabbing Moon for obviously more offensive scaling at the cost of luck and health. In this particular run, I make 3 of them. I currently have 2 different strategies, and it is either making 1 moon puppet or 3 moon puppets, uh, depending on how confident I am for the late game. Um, and I will kind of walk you through the reasoning as we continue through the game. Um, Up front, it's pretty much a risk, especially on this run. On your first trip in, it is pretty easy for them to die. If they catch a single crit, they're gone. But if you can get them out and like into easy and get them scaling, um, they can clean up a lot of your wave clear and make things just generally more consistent. Um, so a lot of the things that I'm going to be showing you as changes, including like these. I mean, the moon puppets aren't like a revolutionary idea, but uh, I was inspired by a Japanese speedrunner of this game, Kabota. Um, I caught one of his runs, and so I've absorbed some of his strategies and added in my own optimizations that I think are improvements over what he's done directly. Um, so continuing on, almost lost my second puppet, but luckily she holds on. Okay, we're going to continue on. I still grab the attack pact. I still grab the spear. Here's the spear. So first run is pretty much the same. We're going to make another moon puppet after we get done with our story stuff. And I guess I can go into some of like the moon puppet theory. Pretty much you're funneling most of your resources through your moon puppets. They are going to be like the first 3 that you give all of your defensive and offensive stats to. Like they are first in line. Um, the defense obviously making up for the fact that they are missing 40% of their HP, and the offense because it will scale better on them, having both the added bonus from naturally higher donum being so it's the combination of naturally higher donum plus better items should multiply better and like yield better results when casting. Obviously at a cost. So we don't change. So that is like my moon puppet theory. I like to give them different appearances to note like which puppets they are. He also had another interesting strategy which I haven't I don't endorse, but I thought it was interesting. He runs his Lucky Pact with sun puppets. instead of like normal or something, or something more generic, um, or like try and get bonus luck on like amulets on a moon. And I think that would be a really interesting strategy, with the passive that the Lucky Pact gives to just survive being killed. Okay. I don't think there is much change in routing until we are done with our saltpeter farm. So I will try to push us into that. For the more like in-depth, slower guide, and like the very basic concepts, my other tutorial should be around. Um, okay, this should be me getting documents. Okay, this should be the beginning of the saltpeter farm since I'm making pop-outs. Yep, saltpeter farm. Okay, we should be off to the races now. We're going to drop the first portal at the bottom of the stairs here, like normal. Plow our way through the wall, because less chance of being in a battle and faster. Um, but we are going to actually change this portal. It is now, instead of being at the boatman, it is at the spear. And instead of passing Domina by, we are going to be talking to her and getting the lantern. So this strategy has some perks, like popping yourself and having to repair one less time, because this will be the only time I pop myself during the sequence, which is why I definitely repair there. So it will get you the chest piece, which otherwise was a time waster. I've found that it is slightly more consistent because it takes a less volatile path, although both options, like at their peak, get pretty close to the same time. It's just, do you want, you know, to go for the chest that is next to Domina, or choose not to? Um, if you don't want to and you think it's a waste, my previous strategy works pretty well. Requires a little luck, a little bit more luck than this one. We talk to her, we say yes, and then we back out of the conversation. And then we just take our portal and take a hike. Because we can just rip the spear out and head across the lake now. And we will be back for clearing Domina's event so that we don't have to fight the Fairy King, on top of getting the very valuable Mud Amulet. I do something. Oh, I make a mistake there. This run definitely wasn't like the most polished version. Or, well, it is the most polished version I've done yet. It is still a work in progress, is what I was trying to say. This looks really silly, but it, I think, technically saves some time, although it's minuscule. Yeah, it basically just saves you from walking backwards. Grab the treasure barrel, which I was kind of derping on. Then you go quickly talk to Domina like you do in my old route. Get the Mud Amulet. Grab this thing because you're here. Why not? Has good mana values on it. Then I start handing out my items here. You don't have to hand out your items here, except for the Rusty Lance. You definitely want that on before going into Astrum. So Astrum is completely identical, minus one thing. And that is not going for Pecos Pact. In this new setup, I have routed out Pecos entirely. So, Ooh, 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 ooh. I am mistaken. There's actually one more thing. Okay, so coming to market. I forgot about this because I'm a derp. Get some puppet parts. I'm going to get a lot of puppet parts because we've increased our puppet pool to about 12. So I'm making 3 puppets, and I'm making all mages because I want to get to 9 mages as fast as possible. I don't really care about tanks. I mean, at this point, they're kind of slowing me down. I mean, and I actually, when I thought about it more, um, with how you are just all inning at the very beginning of the game with your tanks anyway, that, why not have mages um, and get them scaling? Um, so that is like my active theory. As long as you have your 3 tanks by like the first point you really need them guarding, which is the shaman fight, troll shaman, you're fine. So I have a brigade of mages, and try to make sure you have a high level mage on the front line. Uh, that's a lesson you learn real quick, because yeah, they're squishy. To state the incredibly obvious. Um, so that's one more thing that those are the 2 things that have really been changed here. I'm just playing with my packs, trying to get things how I think they are best. I don't drop a portal back there because I don't need to. Still taking all of the same route. Um, you could try using fog here. It was a strategy I saw the Japanese runner do. Is he like started like his mage packs, instead of doing my mud and just going for raw damage, he tries to get a really early poison, which I think might be good in like the first round. And I've been testing it more and more, but it hasn't paid out yet for me. Uh, but it's not something I've gone incredibly extensively into. But it is something to look at. So Pecorino goes away. So there's actually a change to this route that I'm going to show you that actually isn't in this video yet. Um, when we get into Melm, boom, there can be a loot spot right here that you're always going to want to check. Pretty much we're on our first run through, we're looking 50-50 for loot spots and 50-50 doing our objective. We really, really want a spotted egg for time reasons. Um, and we're going to burn anything that gets between us and our objectives, because, well, they're mages. They don't know much else. So that portal that I dropped, with my new route, this is actually incorrect. You ideally drip. Ooh, that was way too far. Right here. So where Nelda was, that is generally where you want to drop, and where you will teleport back to. After you are done with what you are doing. I hard farm out a spotted egg after doing my quest stuff, which I don't think is optimal, because it puts your portals in a really bad spot when they could be otherwise saving time. Um, so basically, the theory is if you get a spotted egg, you don't have to use a mage pact to do your generalized clearing. And other than that, if you do get a spotted egg your first time in, like I'm checking all of these spots. Got a really rare pickaxe, which is kind of silly. Um, like if you do, get the spotted egg, you could probably save some time. But um, like with my new route, I just want to, keep moving. Um, Oh, this is something I have routed in, is a really early uh, disenchantment of amulets. I'm trying to get to, what is it, 3,000, 5,000, like 8,000? I want to get at least above 8,000. I usually just destroy all of my amulets because I need the mana anyway. 3,000 for this, and then I'm going to go for more puppet storage. Yeah. So basically, I want at least 8,000. If you want to hold on to more of your amulets, that is perfectly viable. I just go for as much mana as like I can get my grubby little hands on. I destroy some of these pocket watches I had picked up. It is not common to get this many pocket watches. I had 4. I'm going to turn those all pretty much immediately into puppets. My 10th will be a mage. Then I should make 2 tanks, and that will make up my core of 12, which has been my new strategy, with either 1 or 3 moon mages in there. To reiterate, pretty much moon stance is the only thing that has changed otherwise. So we will skip forward a little. I also make a junk puppet with my 13th. I name it Lucky so it can go in the Lucky Pact. This was probably when I was making something more like 25. Here is one of our first changes, is we are putting on all of the Stabby Pacts. Ooh, can I get a freeze frame of that? Come on. Okay. So yeah, we have our clear pact. This will be mage or frail. Both work. Which squad, which troop, which troop, which troop. This one being a physical pact based around your spear, and these mages are just being cute little leeches. So yeah, this is basically our new setup. Is we are going to stab everything between like us and our objectives. Crabs, we're stabbing them. Golems, stabbing them. We solve all of our problems one way. We are not very diplomatic. So I did get the. Oh gosh, I don't have it. Okay, so this is just like a giant mistake, and a giant time waste, which is kind of silly. Let's get to the point where we're moving again, because yeah, I'm hard farming out. A spotted egg, which again, I don't advise. I just was trying things. I will admit I overly rely on Frail Pact on my runs. Also, I do some really wonky menuing during this. It's really slow menuing too. Oh, also, when you have like these 2 mages right here, moving both of these mages into the Witch Squad pact will give you the best damage, including moving your moon next to your other moon for better scaling. Just generally, you want your Witch Squad pact to be stacked. You want both your Frail and your Witch Squad to have, generally most of your gear, your best amulets, they get the love because they are going to be getting you from point A to point B. They are going to be killing your bosses. You know, they are making this more consistent until the final boss, in which they become slightly less consistent. But for the meantime, they are an interesting trade-off. So it's mostly just the pact change in Melm. Crabs, we still use elemental magic on, fog, or mud. Mud if you're using Mage Pact. We still grab Tacticians. We still pretty much run Melm completely normally. How far ahead did it just skip? Wait, why are we back in there? Hmm, that is interesting. I don't know what's happening anymore. Do I accidentally just pop my head in there? This is where I wanted to be in the video. Um, Not sure what that was. So going to destroy these fleas. Um, with a higher puppet count than I usually run, getting this barrel right here, I usually go at it from the other side so you don't have to spend time jumping across here when you're going to be on that side anyway. So yeah, when I am on the back side, that barrel right there, or that chest right there has the barrel in it. And that can be a free soul if the game is being stingy. Or if you want to just get your puppet surplus out early, since, you know, we're getting at least 22 puppets. And depending on your style, up to 25, I say, would be completely within reason. Our new stabbing packs have it trolls in the most hilarious way. Makes Malm a lot more tolerable, in my opinion. Works both pretty well on golems and brain fart. Yeah, brain fart. And trolls. Jeez. Since the shaman has a weakness to the stab slash combo that is being used. I'm not sure which one they're actually weak to. I think it's the stabbing portion, but I'm not going to state it as an absolute. I don't really know. We're doing all of the same stuff. Going for more loot spots than I usually do in this run. I think we just keep going. Very normal stuff here. Oop, there's one change here. Okay, I'm glad I didn't skip ahead too far. Having stabbing more physical for these things, really nice. Another upside of Witch Pact. So there's Donamiring right there, which I was not aware of before watching some of the Japanese runner, which is kind of sad considering like I routed all of or have made lists of all the chests in the game, but yeah, Strom's revisit should be completely the same. What else do we have? Oh, we have me failing. I accidentally slammed my face in that ogre fight. I go for this red mantle. You have, you know, enough step counter to get it, not mess up anything. But that's not horribly important. Wouldn't be a major detriment if I missed it in this video. Oh, there's actually something coming up. There's I think it's Horrific Rusted Lance coming up, and I give that to this here puppet. I'm going with a more offensive style on my tanks. Pretty much they're angry spear wielding things until I'm done with my EXP farm, and I need them to be tanks. Remembering to turn them back into tanks is important. I've seen bad things happen to good runs if you do not give them their guitars back. So yeah, Horrific Rusted Lance, and then back to mobbing my way across the countryside. Every time I say that, like, there should be nothing new. Start scrolling and bump into something new. Um, but there really shouldn't be anything new between us and the shaman. Shaman, my strategy is that Frail and Witch Squad start by hitting AoEing the mini ones down, while these two go for the troll full time. You can attack once with your tanks, but I would not advise going full troglodyte. Yeah, so I clear the front line and then uh, isolate the troll shaman, so my targeting is easier. Um, you should just stab your way to victory. It should feel like an easier fight. Um, then you do your typical Enamaru farm. I do mine at the end. You can do yours early. Whatever makes you happy. I do mine at the end in case I pick up an Enamaru walking through the stage. Could save time. That has happened before. Okay, Verdant. No routing changes to Verdant. It's just, there's one very small routing change, and it is not picking up Muddy Pact. Basically, our Witch Squad Pact is our new Muddy Pact. And we're trying to go without Pecos for mana efficiency. Even though Pecos does really well in Verdant Phenom, in fact, you lose time not having Pecos here. But you actually don't lose enough time to make grabbing Pecos worth it. So that was an interesting thing I found out doing some rather aggressive analysis. Drop portals. So yeah, we are going to go through here. Then yeah, you don't actually have to come this far. This is actually a little bit too far. You can take the previous left, and then you don't have to backtrack right here. But regardless, the concept is the same. You just don't have to get muddy. I suppose I could go over boss strategy for Hungry Flower. It is basically the exact same as the troll. You know, you don't have to target with Frail. Everything's in the same grouping with squad, so you don't have to target. And with these two, you're going to want to target in case they go first. If you want to target with your tanks, that's entirely up to you. I just kind of generally let them do their own thing. They're not the most important things in the world. So Lamudon has, I guess, one new asterisk next to him, and that is he can go to town on you pretty aggressively if he starts flashing red. So yeah, something like this. Definitely not a bad idea to block if you've already taken like one decent hit from Hungry Flower to try to preserve some of the moons, because like there is like a probability that you just can have bad enough RNG to reset there. It definitely wouldn't be unheard of. So the second part of this is, oh man, can I get a pick? Okay, so we have Frail Pack doing Frail Pack things. We have Witch Squad standing in for Pecos. That is Witch Squad's job. And then we have the normal Veteran and Tactician that I usually run. We are otherwise just running through this pretty normally. With pins, it is fantastic to use the Witch Squad on pins. It has saved me so much time, and it makes pins so much less annoying. Like they'll still do their silly dark fog or whatnot, but when they're done, you have at their little red wagon. Um, so it should just be going to the boss. Um, do. So in the boss fight, you're going to take off your tacticians, and I've been contemplating what is actually optimal to swap into because which troop doesn't get any bonus damage. It just does pretty neutral damage to the bee. However, if you take this out for another mage, for like one of the old mage packs, um, I could actually see a potential time like time increase, but I haven't like looked over the numbers. Uh, to see if that's really worth, which is something I could do. But it was just, musings of a person with too much time on their hands. Okay, so yeah, I set up a witch troop there. Ugh, talking's difficult. And then the bee fight is going to feel longer. So be wary of that unless you get some really fantastic poisons out of your frail. This fight will feel longer. It is now more dangerous with this route. Uh, Case in point. Um, but on my phalanx pick, like usual, that has not changed. Umbra's routing has changed, but this video actually won't show it. And it is conditional actually. So when we get there, it's not horribly far off. It will be after we do our reset for mana or mostly for reinforcement value on this setup since we are so mana efficient. I guess I can go over the gist of it. Also, stabbing your way through Umbra is amazing. Saves so much time. I think you save like a minute alone in Umbra. Or close to a minute. But yeah, you can one round Ikura, you can one round Riddy, and the foot fight, I think you cut by like 20 seconds. It's really nice. So, oh, yeah. Okay, the silver spoon that we used to use in Red Tower is now a luxury spoon. Instead of the floor 7 Rosa Tempest spoon being our luxury spoon, we have shifted that back to being one of our mandatory spoons. That is conditional to like if you haven't gotten a spare spoon. If you've gotten a spare spoon, use them both like in the Red Tower and in Rosa Tempest floor 7. Um, I don't think this run gets a spare, but I believe I'm still using the old route. But my logic behind swapping the spots for the spoon use is that I have like all of these physical pacts, and Spartans, which is why I was doing this, they don't take physical damage as well as they kind of just bulwark through magical damage. And they also don't drain the mana as aggressively as on these packs when you're not running like ridiculously high mana cost mages like Pecos pact. So that is like my fundamental reasoning for my choices. So like right here, I will be using a spoon. This is a luxury spoon. Let's have that noted. We go to the right, we grab spoon, another spoon, we head up. Yeah, this is a thing. After we get the switch, drop our portal back there. I have started taking all of these amulets, um, which is definitely an option. I actually don't think that's a good option since there is. Um, okay, don't. Yeah, think of that as an option, but not a good one, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, if you want the mana. So we are going to grab another Witch Squad pack to replace our Witch Troop. That way we have more group coverage and more AoE ability. So when you're running through here without a spoon, try to save your frail pact mana when you can. Like you could use like a couple hundred, but um, don't go too overly hard at it. Um, oh, and with my spoon vanishing, there's actually something I did want to show off that is slightly faster. I am slightly glad it happened, even if I wasn't during the run. So we hurt these things. They go down like a sack of potatoes when you do it right. Um, so oh, I actually do it wrong. So if your silver spoon wears off, say you have the luxury spoon A, and B it wears off before you get to the decision of going through this wall or not. Yeah, if your spoon is run out, actually just go around and touch the switch. The percent chance that you don't get this thing to attack you is actually so low it's not worth. Also, with the reinforcement costs of like getting a new pact at this point being as high as it is, um, it can stop you from like being in an awkward scenario later if you just walk around, and it's not slower because this fight is a thing. With some unlucky guard rate, it could definitely be slower than just plowing through the wall. Like it's do whatever you're happier with, but my input is that without a spoon, just using the switch is probably better. Okay, the ready fight is pretty much the same. Just you go, you stab her, and she goes away. She got a lot quicker. This fight got a lot quicker, since you don't have Pecos holding you back. And also you have bonus damage from squad over troop. Continuing on. There is something important here. Okay, so I am not going to do it in this run, I don't think. But behind this door, there's what, 7 chests? Within those 7 chests are these silly cluster shields. Grab them all. They are worth 3.9k mana, which is a lot of mana, and more efficient than just going through amulets, quite obviously. So that was something I picked up from the Japanese render that I didn't know. I saw that and I was really impressed. Also, some of the like the top 2 floors got quicker with this set of pacts over mage pacts. Um, Nothing really important on this floor. Oh, I guess I do get a spare spoon. I just saw myself picking it up. Da-da-da. That's the switch. Doing my equipping spree. There's something I found at the top of Blue Tower, which is good to mention. This stuff you mostly just apply stabbing to in Blue Tower. The only thing that isn't like super receptive to being stabbed is the Triple H dog head thing. Um, that thing can survive a decent stabbing. I'm unsure if I have disenchanted yet. So when you get to this point, like the top of Red Tower, and you start disenchanting your amulets and your shields to get to high enough mana to afford, what's the name of it? Nullify all miasma, which is really, really helpful. Not mandatory, but really helpful. If you use the shields and go to 55,000 mana, you can get the third formation, which I use pretty aggressively. Which is why I've started picking up the shields when I'm paying attention. This was obviously not the best run in the world to demo with, but it's what I have on hand. So hopefully I explained things well enough to make up for things. Yeah, there is Dogface, who can survive a decent stabbing. Okay. We get through this floor with the judgments. We don't care. It is this floor which I have found new stuff for. So the Japanese runner, he goes into this room, which unlocks the room down the hall. I never got that first switch, so it limited, since he doesn't get the switch that is on the right side, I knew that wasn't necessary for getting, into Alice's room. And since he doesn't use the far right switch, and I don't use the one in the upper left, just by deduction, it came down to that was the only important switch. So that saves time rather than, doing the loops in that room that I used to do. So that is one improvement. Oh yeah, so I have not disenchanted yet. I am taking damage continually. This run decidedly made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. Gets a surprisingly decent finishing time. All things considered, with how kind of unorthodox its style was. Which I'm just using as a euphemism for bad. Oh, these flies have like the easiest kill of their lives and get like, what, 4 kills? 1, 2, 3. Nope, they get 3 kills. Yeah. Fed some mages, just some flies, wouldn't recommend. Green Tower? Has anything changed in Green Tower? You keep the exact same packs, 2 squads, Veteran and Fog. Okay, so we are going to be the destroying stuff. Our the mana value that we want to pick up both. I don't know if I've said this already, but 55,000 mana will get you both Nullify Miasma and the third tier of formations. I don't think I hit that value by just whatever in the hell I'm doing right now, which I think I only destroy amulets. Do I make it all the way? Doesn't look like it. Oh, close. So grabbing, nullify miasma, and then getting some learn formation. I don't think I'll be able to get the final. Oh, no, I barely get it. Okay. What was my value there? Because that was like on the money. 53. Oh, yeah, I think it's, what, 53, 333? Yeah, so it's just barely enough. I rounded to 55 for easier memory. Yeah, down to 103. So it is what 53 33. Um do 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 do. Continuing our way up the tower. Nothing else has really changed. I grabbed that antique mask mostly just because I'm paranoid about not having enough souls to finish what I'm doing. This was still pretty early in my testing of this. Since I'm low on reinforcements, I've started using that door sometimes. If I don't trust that I'm going to get mana bloblets. We have less reinforcements coming up Green Tower. That is actually one small change. It's just having less reinforcements and planning around that. You can take some time loss by not being able to go through all of the destructibles. After we kill this boss, we make it to the stairs. We use the same silver spoon that we have routed previously to get to the top of Green Tower. And then we hit Fly Queen. We have Frail, we have Veteran, and then we have 2 Witch Squads. This should make pretty quick work of Fly Queen. Which we don't have to watch because, well, everyone's probably watched a Fly Queen kill. Going up, going up, going up. Don't really change anything in the basement. Although I have seen a strategy by the Japanese runner. I think somewhere up in this area, like maybe this room right here. He goes in and he loots all of the things. Since there is a decent set of items in there. It's I think like 2 or 3 amulets and boots and a couple of chest pieces. They're not like immaculate tier, but they're not bad if you're doing a really high puppet count. Rosa Tempest. Has anything changed about Rosa Tempest? We keep Veteran. We keep Frail for clearing bees. We just swap out one of our witch squads, which I actually don't think you have to do. That's actually something that is worth looking at. Is keeping, like, you can either keep in both of your witch squads, or you can swap one of them out with tacticians, depending on what you're more comfortable with. I think both work. I think pretty blatantly both work. So, if you want to just, keep this current lineup and keep walking with it, it works. You know, until we have to change or until yeah, we pretty much have to change things up when we get White Rose to start getting the cost down. Yeah, I think. Okay, so what I'm doing is incorrect. Keep Frail. Never take out Frail. Frail gets rid of bees, and bees make me sad. Rose of Tempest Memoria is pretty much the same. Just pop a spoon on every floor. Try to make it through the first floor as quickly as possible. Try to remember the routes. Ooh. I've lied. Floor 3. There's actually a change on floor 3, which I don't think anyone has found yet, which is kind of silly. Um, Instead of going like right from our current direction or west, then going around, you can just walk down. That there is absolutely nothing stopping you. When I saw the Japanese runner do this, I lolled pretty hard. Um, oh no, actually, sorry, it wasn't the Japanese runner. Um, I watched a random Twitch streamer do that, and I was like, "Wow, I've routed this game, and I'm really dumb." But the Japanese runner also does the same thing, so I don't feel as bad. So that is our one change here. Yeah, I'm going to keep clicking forward until something else hits me. Um, I think that's it. Pretty sure that's it. Angry cubes being angry. That's Rose of Tempest. I don't think anything has changed in Amadeus. It should still be the same as it was in my previous tutorial. I'm choosing to do some puppet creation. I do 25 on this run. I've amended that to 22 for time saves since making puppets costs like 20 seconds. Wandering. I don't think there's anything new in Amadeus. I am wrong. There's actually one thing new in Amadeus. We're getting to it. There's a pack down here. I just shouldn't say that, like, there's not new stuff when, okay, I'm going to get into I don't get into a battle. Oh, yeah, I do. It's just 30 seconds is a lot longer than I thought. Okay, so, I'm actually coming back. Oh, I want it from the front side. We'll just have to deal with being back a little ways. Alright, so we take a right. We go over like we're going to the super bus, and boom. This chest behind this pillar. So this is the jump to go to the boss. We are behind the pillar, grabbing which brigade picked. That is our upgrade to which squad picked. And because of multiplicative bonuses on these here backline puppets, having 3 spaces up front and 5 spaces behind 2 stuffed puppets gives us good results. So that is our one change. I'm sure I'm going to say I haven't changed anything again before amending that. Shows how much I actually know this run. Uh, okay. EXP farm actually got better. So instead of relying so much on fog, this setup is actually incorrect. You only want your one lucky pact, you want white rose, you want veteran, and then you want your witch brigade right here. And white rose and witch brigade clear friggin' pick peepers, which is the only thing that lucky pact sucks at. So don't do double lucky pact. It's bad. But it's what I chose to do. Da, 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 da. Farming, farming, farming. Everything down here should be the same. My only thing is I don't know if I said this in my tutorial, but after Amadeus, do your apprentice notes and try to get the Sage key before coming into the second run of Campanula. That way you get a free chest piece. And it's not a bad piece. I think it has really good values. So yeah, other than that, we just, do our normal thing. So there's two ways to approach this fight. You can do the way that I am doing it, which is, oh Lord, I actually do it a really weird way. I have my brigade here, my witch brigade, not completely manned. I wouldn't suggest that. So I would suggest a fully manned witch brigade plus a veterans. Oh, actually, yeah. Okay, so I actually have my veterans. I just didn't put a puppet here. Okay then. I have no idea what I was doing. But yeah, this is basically the setup I like to run. Veterans, Brigade, White Rose, Phalanx, and then your normal Lucky for this fight, and pretty much for the rest of the game. Your setup is pretty much locked. Minus Phalanx turning into Sages, obviously. But yeah, stabbing works really well. Fire works really well. Is your pretty classical fight. Oh, also, make sure you swapped off your spears, especially if you went for the 3 spears. At the top of Red Tower, you can get a third pretty good spear. Or lance. I shouldn't call them spears. Yeah, you can get a third really good lance and go triple lances and do the silly stuff. But make sure you swap that back before the Evil Mass fight. Dusk and Tanis. I'm holding out not to say the thing. But I think this one very legitimately hasn't changed. Just like, you're clearing with Lucky. I mean, you have some different pacts, back here, but why do I? Oh, I have a second Lucky pact. That's what this is. Okay, so I got Lucky and got more Lucky pacts. That is what I chose to run back there. As an option if you don't want to, or if you would prefer crit fishing over Witch Brigade. So yeah, options. Oh, yes. Something that I've demonstrated here. Moons go in White Rose Pact. If you make moon mages, always put them in White Rose. Because the 55% bonus defense is really, really good, and the only reason they don't get one shot. They can still get one shot to crits, but that has always just kind of been a true thing in this fight. This fight being the final boss. But yes, if you make moons, and that is why I make either 1 or 3 moons. Is, because they can be partially covered by, like their lack of health can be partially recovered with White Rose's defense bonus. And the final fight should be basically the same. Fire, Thunder Crash, and then Lucky Catfish. And if you're using Witch Brigade, you're using the third tier of that same stab you've been using for the whole game. So I guess I should cover 23 Mage Strat. So think of this as quickly as Witch Brigade pack. So you have 3 up front and then 5 in the back. With 22 Mage Strat, you put all 10 of your backline puppets on behind White Rose and Witch Brigade for multiplicative bonuses, and you just kind of leave Lucky over here to do its own thing. If you do 23 Mage Strat and you try to go for like the crits, which isn't bad. I mean, it's really a coin flip on whether you want to take the 20-second loss to do it. Like if you think that's worth, it's definitely not a bad strategy. But those are the 2 strategies that I would advise. I like getting the 10 puppets in the backlines for just like the best damage multiplier I can. And I think that's all of the changes. I know in about 20 minutes I'm going to remember something and facepalm, but this is it for now. Thank you. Have a good one.